Hello and welcome to the Place to Be Reviews. I am Etep Wakuian, and I am here with all of yous. So cheesy, it should come with fries and a shake. But hey, it's Batwoman Season 1, Episode 2. What else can I say other than it's cheesy? Well, this episode, I will say this, and I'll be kind of going through and breaking down my my points here. With a little bit of editorialization in between, as we see, I'm not a big graphics guy. I'm not a big guy, so if you're watching this review, you're going to have to deal with the Rotten Tomatoes screen as kind of just a backdrop, because I don't really do a lot of editing. I just kind of turn the camera on and shoot from the hip. If you're a subscriber, you know that I'm trying to work on the editing and the tech side for the presentation a little bit more, but I'm going to have to apologize right now, guys. So we, of course, start with the recap of the mundanity of the previous episode, which was the pilot. And it was kind of boring. Like I said, the only spots that really shined for me was Alice, Rachel Scarston. She is really the bright spot of this show thus far. And to me, she far outshines Ruby Rose in the minimal dialogue she's had. I mean, she's had quite a bit of dialogue, and she's a pretty prominent part of the story. But Ruby Rose, obviously, the feature, and Jacob's featured more. But you're starting to see more of Beth/Alice. This episode is called The Rabbit Hole, and we, of course, begin with a flashback of Kate losing her sister Beth and their mother in the bridge accident. Kate narrating it through her letter writing to Bruce Wayne, which is referenced and revisited multiple times throughout the episode. And we then look back to 15 years prior to the search efforts for Beth, and how the efforts slowly dissipated over the course of time, days, weeks, months, until it was just, Kate and Jacob searching for Beth, until the discovery of the skull fracture, the skull pieces on the Miller farm, which, Beth said, or not Beth, but Kate said she searched, but didn't find anything, and Jacob said he did, and they tested DNA, and it was Alice, or I'm sorry, Beth. They all have two names, so we cut to the present day. Jacob Kane briefing his Crow officers about Alice being a lunatic, and his former commander Dodson, Alice's boyfriend, being a traitor. He's former Crow officer, now turned Wonderland Gang second in command, and this guy's supposed to be a trained badass, which we'll bring that up later on. We see a Crow security team entering a Wonderland Gang hideout, which they've already vacated, only leaving behind some masks and a few other smaller things. The Wonderland Gang members blow up the Crow truck after defacing, which kind of made me laugh because they tagged it and then they blew it up, which really didn't make sense. Outside, they're accosted by Batwoman during their escape. She intercepts one of these guys mid-stride, kind of shoulder checking him into a wall. He goes down, and she injures another one with a batarang blade, and he continues his escape, kind of gets away. The other one gets to his feet, fires 3 rounds from his sidearm directly into the chest of Kate's batsuit, and the rounds just ricochet off, and she just sits there with that same look on her face and says, "Cool," as she allows him to run away. Then she cuts him off and tackles him, asking him where Alice is. And then she sees the Crow security kind of pulling up and arriving, and she shoots the little grappling hook up and leaves. This Wonderland Gang kind of thug just gets up and goes to draw his gun, and immediately just gets gunned down by the Crow officers. This fight sequence was kind of improved from episode 1 scenes because it showcased Kate's tech and utilized the environment as a weapon, as opposed to having her physically dominate men that are 150 pounds bigger than her in a straight up fight, which is completely hilarious. And it is absolutely just, it would be more so if she was like Melissa Benoist, who is Supergirl, who is obviously, well, as far as the show goes, they've cucked out Superman and made him admit that she's strong. I forget how much stronger you are than me, you're faster. It's like, okay, so Kate is not a superhero in the sense that she has superpowers, but she does have a lot of tech and gadgets, and she's a trained fighter, but still, you're fighting a guy that's 150 pounds bigger than you. If you're just trying to outmuscle him, it's not going to happen. Which is like the first episode, her punching out these big, it was just stupid. But this one was more, a little more well done. I would say, than the first episode was. Next scene shows Kate still in full Batsuit garb riding her motorcycle through Gotham. A rather wonky, poorly CGI'd Gotham on motorcycle scene. And I understand this in the interest of production cost and budgetary constraints. But, I mean, you know, the CGI here just really disappointed me. And the whole sequence was it was bad. It was bad. And she makes her approach to Wayne Enterprises, building parking structure, and enters the Batcave. Like, did anybody, did they not see her, driving into Wayne Enterprises in a full fucking Batsuit? Did nobody notice this? But, maybe the Gotham City surveillance cameras are, meant, they've got them rigged to not see Batman? I don't know. She's greeted by Luke Fox, who questions why she was gone so long and inquires about anyone seeing her because he doesn't want her out pretending to be Batman. Because this, honestly, and we find this out later on in the episode, that the radio personality, Vesper Fairchild, portrayed by Rachel Madcow, kind of goes into is Batman kind of, and the newspapers do as well in the episode, they show the headlines, is Batman kind of showing up at will? Is he actually going to help? Or, is this a one-off thing? So, it kind of causes false hope, her just going out as Batman to just serve her own cause and not really do what Batman did, which was be a superhero, and that's kind of selfish on her part. But she's using it as a means to an end to find out if Beth is truly Alice and vice versa. So, he says he doesn't want her pretending to be Batman. Kate simply replies, "I've got to find her," referring to Beth and Alice as she looks at a childhood photo of the two of them. And the next scene is narrated by Rachel Maddow's character, radio host Vesper Fairchild, talking about Batman fever as we watch a Crow security truck and officers kind of guarding the city limits in preparation, for anything that might go wrong due to this Wonderland gang threat. Kate narrates more of her letter to Bruce in the next scene as she's sitting down to breakfast with her stepmom and sister and, Father Jacob. Kate asks her father about a lead to Alice being killed by Crow security the previous night, and Jacob says that she would know more if she accepted his offer to join the Crow team. Her sister chimes in about Sophie being married to a man and keeps prattling on about how this is like the only part that they really, there's only like a few sparse mentions of Kate Kane's sexuality. I mean, it's implied obviously she had a relationship with Sophie, but they didn't really mention it over the top. The sister kind of did right here where she goes on about how she could be bi, pan, poly, omni, only to be interrupted by Kate blurting out she thinks Alice is Beth. Obviously, Jacob does not take this well. She tells her dad she is Alice's knife, which has a garnet stone in it, which is their birthstone. Jacob and her stepmother don't believe any of it. He tells her she's, off her rocker, basically. And just overall out of line. He doesn't want to hear it. And you can see the stepmother getting a little bit uncomfortable. We'll allude to this later. We then join Alice, who is pouring tea for an older couple whom she has bound, as they're joined by a group of the Wonderland gang members in like a dining room setting. This is the older couple's house, obviously. Alice is poignant and articulate in this scene, as well as cold and callous, and I actually enjoyed this scene in Scarston's delivery and her mannerisms. The hook is that the old couple now occupy the home that Kate and Beth's family lived in as kids, so this just drives the plot point that Beth is Kate's sister, or Alice is Beth's sister, Dodson's present in the scene as Alice monologues about how the rich are still in power, and she shows how much she resents Kane and he's a quitter. Dodson questions Alice's motivation regarding Kate, and Alice admittedly says she wants to make her father suffer for giving up on her, leave him alone, strip him of everything he has and he loves, and leave him with nothing. all the while pausing to rant about the whereabouts of her favorite knife, which we all know Kate is in possession of. It's a good scene. Scarston stole this scene. Her look changed slightly this episode. I think they just kind of did something different with her. Not really too noticeable, but just a little bit. She's a bit more feminine looking, which is probably due to Scarston herself being not only very talented, but she is an absolute gorgeous woman. I kind of have a little celebrity crush on Rachel Scarston now. I haven't seen her in anything in a while, but wow, it's honestly, she's just really good in this role of Alice. And I don't like this show at all. I really don't. I suffer through this. Like I said, today, this was another 2 hours or so of writing to get this review done. Which, if I actually could put that time into editing the video, which would probably be a little bit better. But the knife, so, they leave this kind of scene on a cliffhanger going into the commercial. So you're wondering, did she or did she not kill this old couple? So she's kind of flipping around her other butterfly knife, and So the knife in question is then displayed as we cut to Kate in the Batcave running some tests, presumably DNA on it, and continuing her letter to Bruce as we cut to yet another flashback of their youth, her having nightmares, Jacob comforting her. The scene is set after the search efforts had dissipated and Jacob promised that he would never stop looking for Beth. Luke Fox is kind of rambling about some DNA stuff, and then he brings up the bat suit. And Kate says that she needs it to catch Alice. Luke proceeds to quiz her on exactly how the tech works in the Batcave because he says he doesn't even know. Kate tells him that he sounds like his father, Lucius Fox, to which he responds in this gem of emasculating and insulting dialogue. Luke Fox, I am a far cry from my father. Kate, I know. He was actually useful. Luke, that's funny. Like he just gets like humiliated in this. I'm gonna click over to some audience scores here. Just look at some of these. I mean, there's a couple. You can see there's a couple top ones here, but we get down to the meat of it, and yeah, they just get progressively worse here. So this is like cringe level 10 because basically she just calls the guy that designs all of her tech worthless after asking him to redesign this like multi-million-dollar bat suit to fit her better. Right. This is something you're really gonna do. Yeah. I don't. It's cringy. And then we see Sophie looking at a Batman article on her computer. Kate enters and approaches her desk, reciting a military mantra to her that they must have learned together in basic training. So it's yeah. This is some Batwoman stuff here. Scroll back up to the top. And she's reciting this military mantra. Sophie shows her the article, directly asks if she's Batman, and kind of grills her on it. Kate then says, after continually denying being the Batman, that if she was going to save Sophie in a dramatic fashion, she would totally dress as Wonder Woman, which is kind of a one-off line, but this line actually sets a precedent as it acknowledges the existence of Wonder Woman in the CW universe. They did the same thing with Robin, as later in the episode, Vesper Fairchild, the radio personality, is questioning the whereabouts of Batman as he hasn't shown up in a while, which, like, in this timeline would be like a day or two. So she's wondering if he's at Robin's graduation. So also acknowledging Robin in this universe, which I don't know if they're going to do something with that later in the show, but they've acknowledged their existence. Let's see. So Sophie smiles at that Wonder Woman line. Kate asks to speak to her in private and asks her to run DNA on Alice's knife. Sophie tries to convince her that there's no way Alice is Beth, refuses to take the DNA test. Kate says if she would have known Sophie was getting married, she would have come back sooner to, quote-unquote, stop it. It is at this moment the pair is accosted by the Wonderland gang. They toss a smoke canister. The pair of females fend off no less than 5 to 6 much larger Wonderland gang assailants in hand-to-hand combat. The entire scene is to retrieve Alice's knife. So these guys take a beating. They get the knife. and they're on their way, leaving Kate and Sophie kind of wondering, wow, what the hell just happened? How did, and Kate later questions how they have the knife. We then see Kate and Sophie in Jacob's office, and he's screaming at her for bringing herself into Alice's crosshairs. Sophie backs her up by saying that she doesn't see the harm in running a DNA test on Alice if they catch her. Jacob again refuses to believe that Alice is Beth as Kate tries to convince him. Jacob says that GCPD has given the green light to kill her, which obviously shocks Kate, and they're interrupted by a Crow officer briefing them about an incident on Bennett Avenue, which Kate recognizes as where her stepsister has that underground clinic. So we're kind of in that spot with it, where okay, now we're gonna start involving. I believe her name's Mary, the stepsister, and it's so funny. Like I don't even bother to like. They don't really mention her by name. I believe it was Mary, though I can't remember the stepmother's name. But so Kate goes to the clinic, pays her a visit. She finds Mary has a Wonderland gang member under her care. He's unconscious and strapped to a gurney in this scene, complete with a batarang that Mary removed from his scapula. Kate recognizes him and undoes his straps and tells him to send a message to Alice, and it's waffles, which is code for a little waffle stand their father used to take Kate and Beth to every Friday when they were children, where they'd get these like chocolate-covered waffles, which actually sounds freaking delicious right now. We join then a Crow intel briefing. Okay, now this scene, kind of shakes Mary. She's like, what the hell are you letting him go for? But, she doesn't want to draw any attention to herself, so whatever. Most of these scenes are honestly just kind of just boring. The ones without Alice in them are just kind of boring. The action sequences are just wonky. We join a Crow security intel briefing. Let's see. And this Crow security intel briefing narrowing down the location of Alice and the Wonderland gang, led by one of Jacob's captains. He said they have footage of Dotson on camera, and Jacob gives them the address he knows they're at, which is Kate's childhood home. Kate calls Sophie and asks her to stall the raid so she can see if Alice takes the waffle stand message and meets her there, because she knows her dad is going to kill her. Kate leaves to meet Alice, and we see Luke Fox messing up stuff in the Batcave, triggering a tracking system on Kate as she arrives for the meeting with Alice at the waffle stand. We get a brief flashback of her and her dad eating there while she works on a map, kind of a search grid for Beth. Tells Jacob they should be looking for Beth, and she blames herself for the disappearance. And then we cut back to the present, where we see the Crows breaching the home of the old couple, where they find them dead, throat slit at the table. No sign of the Wonderland gang. Jacob still denies Alice is Beth. We cut back to Kate and Alice as we see Alice on a swing, and they're face to face, her and Kate. They have a nice little back and forth, some good dialogue. Most of the good dialogue comes from Alice, as Ruby Rose's delivery is just monotone and flat. Almost all of her lines are just flat. Kate tells Alice that she has her knife, and Alice is kind of surprised she has it. She tells her that she remembers coming to the waffle stand every Friday, but then tells her she either remembered doing it or it was from a press release that she read online back after the accident during the search. Scarston really shines here. The dialogue's just not very well constructed, but she just makes it her own and just kind of puts her own little thing on it, and I really enjoy her in this thus far, and her presentation just makes it solid. It's not necessarily what she's saying, it's just how she's conveying that point. The body language is great, and she just kind of owns this role. The Crow officers are kind of cleaning up the murder scene. Sophie tells Jacob where Kate is, the meeting with Alice. And this obviously pisses, Jacob off. Kate and Alice are talking about how she survived the crash. Alice, of course, does her regular monologue, which is done masterfully. Kate looks on with kind of the same pointless expression she has much of the episode, just blank. Kate gets a "where are you" text from her sister, and Alice and her continue their discussion. Alice asks her how long it was after the accident until Kate was able to sleep through the night. Kate says that she hasn't yet, and Alice responds with, "Sure you have." Kate says that she hasn't because she never gave up hope to find her. Alice then takes the knife, says, "You want DNA? Here you go." Cuts herself open to give Kate the DNA to test and prove to Daddy that she is who she says she is, and that's Beth. As this happens, we see the Crow team enter. Kate quickly moves to protect Alice from being killed. Alice says tattletale, kind of like kids, and boom, they're at gunpoint. So, and Kate goes on later to, reassure Alice that this was not her doing. Jacob orders Kate to stand down. Kate tells Jacob that Alice is his daughter and that if he shoots her, he'll lose both of them. Alice is then arrested, taken into custody, and when Sophie approaches her, Kate says, "And here I thought you could keep a secret." Oh, there's trouble in paradise. It's obvious Kate doesn't really fully trust Sophie or her loyalty anymore. She then reassures Alice that she didn't tell the Crows that they were meeting there. Alice goes into a March Hare story and alludes to the fact that she's jealous of Mary, Kate's stepsister, and that she's basically planning to either kidnap her or something much more nefarious. So we're back at Mary's clinic. She's accosted by Dodson. After some power surges, he shows up inside there. He's a trained private security officer who's presented from the beginning of the show as a rather formidable fighter and a badass. And he's undeniably physically kind of not really beat, but bested in this just kind of cat and mouse game by a much smaller, untrained woman, where he's made to look like kind of a bumbling idiot, and she even stabs him, trying to get the advantage of her while he's choking her during this fracas. She's easily able to escape him, lock herself away as he retrieves an axe to attempt to breach the door, but then he's pulled back by, of course, like a bat device, like not a grappling hook, but like a bat cable, shot out of one of the little guns, and he's knocked unconscious with a single punch from Kate. Batwoman, of course he is. Why wouldn't he be? So, again, just the men in this show are in the fight sequences are just complete idiots. Like they look stupid. They look ineffectual and weak. So it's kind of a joke. Kate and Mary. Oh wait. Okay, so we're at the prison transport where Jacob orders Alice to be taken. Is on its way to Arkham. It's seen on TV in the clinic by Kate. She's watching it, and a bomb goes off that was placed under one of the vehicles, presumably the one with Alice, and is blown off the bridge. It is. It goes underwater quite quickly. We cut back to Kate in the bat suit, riding through Gotham on the motorcycle again, talking to Luke Fox en route to the scene of the explosion, as we see Alice in the van, and she's kind of unconscious and drowning. And Kate removes the door effortlessly to save her life, swims down under there. They're underwater, kind of taking fire from the police. Kate has given Alice her breathing device at this point, and a stray bullet hits this van, blows up, knocks Kate unconscious. She washes ashore, and Fox has like a suit defibrillator in it, which he uses remotely from Wayne Enterprises or the Batcave, because there's police dogs who are kind of rapidly descending on Kate's position as she's unconscious on the riverbank. So, just kind of, she escapes just in the nick of time here. Kate and Mary are seen in Mary's clinic. Kate approaches Mary and is seen pointing a gun, and Mary points a gun at her because she doesn't know who's coming in. Kate obviously plays dumb about the clinic attack. She wasn't Batwoman. She hasn't told Mary she's Batwoman yet. Mary tells her that Dodson tried to kill her because Alice saw her as a threat. Mary tells Kate that she hasn't been a real sister, and Kate apologizes for putting her in harm's way. Mary asks Kate if it's worth it and tells her to let Alice know she's not a threat or trying to steal her sister. So you can see that obviously Alice has a lot of jealousy here that is directed towards the stepsister, because she sees it as a threat to her relationship with her real sister, which is truly not the case, as obviously Alice has been gone for 15 years, or Beth. Jacob Kane is questioning GCPD and Crow officials regarding the placement of the bomb on the vehicle crossing the bridge that freed Alice. And he says there's something, basically afoot, possibly a mole somewhere, and kind of just sends him out of his office. Kate enters and asks if, her scolding is next. They argue about Alice. Jacob shows her the homicide photos from the old couple's home and threatens to arrest her for aiding and abetting if she interferes any further with the investigation and apprehension of Alice, who's now back on the loose. We go to a flashback. It's presumably after everyone except Jacob and Kate had abandoned the search. Jacob is, he sees Kate is sleeping at night, and he kind of tucks her in on the couch, and he's got her map, and he just breaks down crying, because he's lost his daughter. He's feeling, he's defeated. And Kate wakes up and sees him, and they have a nice little moment until he lies to her and tells her they found Beth's remains, which he thought they did find Beth's remains. We find out this is a huge cover-up. Goes a lot farther than him even. This was at the Miller farm. Kate calls him a traitor for giving up. And, he thought they found the remains at the Miller farm, the skull pieces, and, Kate tells him that she searched there and didn't find anything. So, and now this flashback is all taking place while Jacob is in his office at, Crow Security, and he is, doing his thing, kind of just doing a little reminiscing thing here. And we see Kate and Sophie argue in the hallway of the Crow building after Sophie tells Kate that Alice could have killed her. Kate tells Sophie that she sold her out and throws the military academy at her. Kate then asks Sophie if she's happy, and Sophie said yes, and there's no us, and she needs to move on. So Sophie just wants to be a regular woman at this point, not so stunning and brave. So Luke and Kate are then discussing the suit. Kate thanks Luke for saving her, which is nice considering how condescending she usually is to him. Kate tells Luke that she thinks someone else is trying to stop her from finding out the truth about Alice being her sister. We then see the stepmother on a park bench handing Alice's knife off to an unnamed man. He's to destroy it, and she says that she'll destroy the footage of the attack on Kate and Sophie from the parking garage, which means that a portion of the Crow team is operating covertly inside to keep this secret about Alice from coming out. And we've revealed a third major plot twist in 2 episodes. Now the stepmom is evil too. So, we're just giving away everything. Like I said, 2 episodes in, and you've already given up that, Alice is Kate's sister. Now you've got this, the stepmom's bad. Dodson's dating Alice. So this is all one big oof. I don't even know what to say. So we go back to Kate narrating her letter to Bruce. She's telling him that the murders put doubt into her about Alice. Kate has Dodson tied up. She's telling him to give him information about Alice, and she, of course, punches him to get him to talk, and that's where we leave them. And, she wants information about Alice, who we see writing a letter to Kate from her office. Kate is seen walking to her motorcycle and opening a box with a message from Alice, and there's a live bat in there and a note that says, "You have our father's eyes," and the bat flies away right on cue. So this is Alice kind of telling Kate that she knows that she is the Batwoman. The supervillain and the villain trope of being, siblings, full effect. Of course, what else would you expect from a Greg Berlanti show? Yeah, not much. Not too much. So, like I said, this episode was I don't want to say it was slightly better, but I want to say Rachel Skarsten made it a little bit, at least more palatable for me. If you look over here, new on TV tonight, Flash is at 99%, Batwoman 69%. So let's just keep that in perspective there. Rachel Skarsten is kick-ass in this show. Ruby Rose is pedestrian and bland. Bad writing, bad dialogue for her, and she just delivers every line with the flat monotone, no enthusiasm, no matter what she's doing. And I'm not saying smile, sweetheart. I'm just saying you're just not that good. And I had somebody tell me the other day that she was amazing in John Wick 2. She played a mute, so you didn't have to listen to her talk in that. And I'm sure her fight scenes were just as implausible in that and as they were in this, but they were probably obviously more well choreographed in a John Wick movie with Keanu Reeves. But yeah, so Rachel Scarston is just the scene stealer in this episode. This was actually down from 1.3 million to around 800,000 this episode. I think it did on television viewership. So, it'll probably drop off a little more before it settles in at its, its niche audience, I guess, the core group of fans. I would give this one, like I said, I'm not looking forward to 6-7 seasons of Batwoman. I'm thinking like maybe if it doesn't get canceled after the first season, 4 tops. This will run out of steam. You're already giving everything away, and I don't think this writing staff has the wherewithal to have the next big baddie or the next event planned down the road after the way these first 2 episodes have turned out. So I will continue to watch this for you guys. 69% on Rotten Tomatoes, 12% audience score. I will continue to watch this and review it. I will suffer for your cinematic and television sins so you don't have to. So what do you guys think? Are you have you watched the Batwoman, or are you just waiting for my reviews on it? I know it's a little bit late. I'm sorry this is the last time this will happen because 3-day holiday weekend and all with the family. So, but please bitch slap that like button on the way out, and please consider subscribing to the channel. That's the only way that we can grow. And also, if you do subscribe, be sure to turn the bell on for notifications, because YouTube has recently changed the algorithms to favor large corporate channels. So me, myself, I, and your other favorite YouTubers, you might not be getting notified when we go live, when we upload videos, things of that nature. So turn that bell on, please subscribe, and do me a favor, go over to the Place to Be Reviews on Facebook, like the page. We also have a private group, the official Place to Be Reviews fan page. You can put in a request to join. One of myself or my admins will vet you and get you into a great community. Also, go subscribe to my friends' channels. 2 Cents Toys, Salvador the Don, is a regular on the program. Will be joining us this weekend for Unicorn Store and Hellraiser. That's right, we're doing a watch party this Saturday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll start Unicorn Store, and then around 10, we'll be on to Hellraiser. So our first watch party, we're doing a horror movie and a true cinematic horror classic. Yeah, Unicorn Store is just a horror movie because it's horrible. So that being said, I am Queen of the Place to Be Reviews. I have been here with all the yous reviewing Batwoman. Season 1, Episode 2, The Rabbit Hole. And I think this is really all we need to know about the mission statement of this show. Yeah, a step in the right direction for representation. I am Kui, and I have enjoyed doing this review for you. I suffer for my subscribers. Please subscribe. Know that I will suffer for you. Tomorrow, Walking Dead review and a couple single release videos, plus the podcast live tomorrow night at 8:30 right here on the Place to Be Reviews. I'm Kui. Remember, if I don't see you, have a great day and a pleasant tomorrow.